What's up, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're going to be covering another question. We did this last week. We're going to be posting that
Tomorrow.
tomorrow on her channel, episode one, one of one so far.
I need to name them that, like episode one. I should do that.
Yeah, episode one. Because it was we literally set up the room how we wanted it like this. And then,
So we just got these chairs.
oh, that's
We're
right.
using different chairs, and we're like, you know what? Let's just post a video. It was my last day of work, so we had water day at school, and in the water slide, I had soap in my hair, and I know you're wearing a water shirt too, so I don't know what you were doing. I think you went to the river with Noah.
Yeah, I did go to the river.
So we were just like beat, no makeup cut for me, just sliding. We're like, YOLO, let's just sit down and
Yeah, because then we ended up just clicking record and we were just going to see what it looked like. But then the conversation got really good. So we were like, you know what? Let's keep going. But today I'm going to be the one asking the question. Last week she asked the question and I forgot what question you asked. How has faith?
helped you overcome your struggles or something
Yeah,
of that sort.
something of the sort. Check that episode out coming out tomorrow, which would be June. I don't even know what today is.
7th.
No,
Oh my goodness, 10th.
10th. Tomorrow's June 10th. So check it out, June 10th. So today I'm going to be asking her a question. And I have a few questions on here, so I'm just going to pick one. We are going to do something in the near future where we're just going to like pick it out of a hat and just go with the flow.
Oh, we have a wheel.
Or yeah, we have a wheel that we can just spin. And later on, once we start getting some viewers, maybe you guys can have an input on what you guys want us to talk about. Like we're going to be covering like marriage,
Health,
faith,
family, faith,
um,
money, all that good stuff.
is spirituality, something that we both dabbled with. Crazy stuff that we went all in on these things and how we overcame a lot of our
New Age versus, not versus, but like New Age and Christianity, her journey, things of that
yeah.
sort.
So today we're going to kind of just talk about how faith and family fuel our mission, like building our company together. So we started a company called Gratitude First Ventures. It's a real estate company, but we're going to venture into other things as well. Um, Living gratitude is just something that I feel like we kind of we always talk to each other. We're always like, just make sure that you have gratitude for everything that we have. And it really does like humble us down to a lot. So kind of just stuck. So Gratitude First Ventures is our company. So I'm gonna just kind of ask her a question about um, that topic in a sense. Um, so let me see. Okay, here we go. What's one thing you wish couples understood about building a business together?
All right. I get the mic now, guys. Okay, so one thing I wish couples understood. So just recently, because like I said, it's something very new for us starting a business together. It's been about a month, so very, very new. And in this month, we've had a lot of ups and downs already. And I know a few weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago, we had a talk where you brought it up, where he's just like, hey, it was a serious talk. We're like driving down. It's kind of like, you know what? We can't be doing this thing that we're doing. I'm like, doing what thing that we're doing? And I got all defensive. So pretty much, what happens is that we all play an important role. We all have a really important role, and not one is better than the other in any business and your relationship, right? So, for example, in our situation, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm like lost for words right now.
I mean, I can kind of help you in a sense. To I guess in my perspective, what I've noticed that in the past when we've been trying to start our own company. We've been trying to do something together for a long time, and we always were stalling. We were like,
time, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop you there. Describe a few of the things we tried to start together.
so we started to do like an Amazon passion product was one, then like a coaching company, and then
Those are the main two.
those are the two main, but they lasted for a while. And then like we kind of went on like a own journey trying to figure out like what kind of approach I wanted to take with my life and what you wanted to do with your life. And you went into like trying to start your own coaching with women and then me with men and in that sense and implementing our daily routines and whatnot. We thought about like opening like this was my idea. like a wellness center for like doing meditations and doing cold plunges and saunas and that kind of stuff, which is something that like I feel like is very beneficial, but it just never amounted to it. It was just like thoughts, you know. But what would happen is that we would just bump heads too much. And this just happened from a long time ago too. Like just it could be something as simple as building an IKEA uh desk together. Like we would try to do it together and we work totally different. Like she's doing something way different than I am. Like and we would just like butt heads because we were just too stubborn. I wanted to do it my way and she wanted to do it her way. And it just was causing too much chaos. Like it was just like very frustrating and then we would just be really mad at each other at the end of the day. Like we couldn't get anything together. And when we started this business, it kind of started rocky like that. You know, we kind of like, how can I say it? Like, in my personal experience, I'd feel like I would do things like, I'd be like, why is she telling me what to do kind of thing, you know? Like, I should be, you know, I can do my own thing, you know, like I can do this my way. Like, why does she tell me to do it a certain way, you know? Like, and it just kind of started, you start kind of having battles in a sense of like who's taking authority or who's doing what or and it just ultimately is like, well, if she's not doing it, then why am I not gonna do it? Why am I gonna do it? You know? And it just like started giving us a lot of conflict. And I don't know if you want to continue from there,
Yeah.
because I think you can continue with because the question was for you. I don't want to steal the shine.
I'm just like my mind's all over because there's so many things that go into that led to other things, which is so crazy. So yeah, we had that talk where he's just kind of like, we can't be going on like this. We have to figure out who's gonna do what. So at least for our business, like calls need to be made, appointments need to be done. Like we need to be going to houses. Spreadsheets need to be done. We have to be finding leads, things of that sort. So it's kind of like who's gonna do what, right? And there were some things that I just did not want to do. Like for me, cold calling, I will do anything but cold calling. I don't want to do it. I don't like to do it. So I was stuck in that battle that I was like, I don't want to do it. Like I don't want to do it. And I felt like he was seeing as like, wow, she can't even make a call and she really cares for this company. And this is just like what I'm projecting in my
Yeah,
mind,
she'll
right?
give you her take on how she felt, and then I'll give you my take. And none of us are wrong
Yeah.
because this is just pure
Personal
perspective,
opinion is their
personal
opinion.
perspective. And I think that's one key thing that you have to figure out
Yeah.
as a couple. Yeah, go ahead.
That everyone has a different perspective. Like this is what I'm thinking he's thinking, which I can't read his mind. You never know what the other person's thinking, but you're assuming, right? So I'm assuming he's like, oh, you can't even make a phone call. Like it's not even that big of a deal. Wow, like you're not even trying. Like these things were running in my head. I'm just like, and I would battle like, no, I don't want to make a phone call. Why don't I don't see you making phone calls? I was literally having these conversations in my head. I kid you not, because I'm not seeing him really make that many phone calls in the beginning. You weren't not really doing them in
No,
the
for
beginning.
sure, for
Like
sure.
none of us were really doing much. We're kind of just like depending on one another. Like who's gonna make the first move? So that was one big thing for me. I was dabbling with like I would listen to. I love David Goggins. So I would listen to him, and he'd be like, "You don't." No, actually, he thinks the opposite. But so that's not a good example. Pretty much, there's people that say master the one skill, like Tony Robbins. It's like, what are you good at? Master the one skill. And there's those people like David Goggins. They're like, if you're not good at it, like he sucked at reading, right? So he started reading like crazy, taking notes. He'd write everything down. So I was like, what approach do I take? Do I like try to overcome making cold calls even though I hate it? Or I don't mind door knocking. Why don't I just go door knocking, Just do something that I'm more comfortable with. I don't mind doing like in person, one on one. I could do a one on one talk, but when I don't know, something about like, I don't know the other person on the side of the phone, something with calling. So I would have these like little scenarios in my head. And then when he approached me and he's like, we need to figure it out, like something needs to be done, I was even taking it like, you're attacking me. You're literally attacking me, and like, why are you attacking me? I don't see you doing anything. But I held back. I didn't say anything. I was just like, okay, I hear you. I hear you, that type of thing. Took it all in. That night, I would really like journal, and I'm like, oh, to figure it out. And what's crazy is that a few days later, maybe like 2 days later, we meet this, we meet with this guy named Andy, and he is our spiritual coach. And he actually,
Well, let me take it a
there's
step
something,
back on this because okay, let me take it a step back on this because I feel like so as you guys know, like we're really faith based now, and I had that thought in my head for so like maybe for like a month where like I was just kind of like, man, like we need to figure something out. And I didn't know how to come to her about it. Like I was really, because we always battle this together where we were like, we don't know how the other person's gonna take it, and we kind of feel like we don't want the other person to feel attacked. And we're finally getting through that. And these are just things that happen in marriage, you know. You don't want to get into a confrontation and you feel like it's going to cause a chaos or a problem, and it shouldn't be like that. But regardless, it was going on. And then I kept I kept praying about it, you know. I kept praying about it. I was like, man, like I really need God. I really need you to help me with this and guide me and be able to speak to my wife so I can, you know, we can get this settled, because we can't keep doing this. So then we had a coaching call first with Alfonso, remember?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
So we had a coaching call with one of our real estate instructors, and he was just like, first thing he mentioned, he was kind of like, so you guys are doing this together? And then I was like, yeah. And then he's like, do you guys have like roles? And then we're like, no, we kind of just like, he's like, well, I recommend you guys kind of maybe take this assessment test. He named a different one.
It was a strength finder.
Oh, yeah. He's just like strength finder. So he's just like, I would just do any strength finder and just kind of see if that you guys can see what you guys are good at and maybe take that approach, you know, because it would help. He's like, I've seen it happen with couples. They do it this and it helps them figure out their way. And then I was like, and then something dinged in my head. I was like, oh my God, that's step number one. And then we kind of dabbled a little
We
bit.
didn't
We
do
just
anything
like,
with
we
it.
went that night, we looked at the Tony Robbins one, and then it was just so long. And we're like, oh, I don't want to do it. And then the next day I was kind of like, still in my head, I'm like, man, I know this is something that we need to do, because if we don't take control of this, like now, like to start the business, like we cannot move forward. It's just not going to work. So then what happened was we had a meeting 2 days later with our, I guess it's a spiritual coach. I would say, right? He's our
Yes,
spiritual coach. Yeah. So we met up with him, and then the first thing he brought up in the thing, he's just like, I really want you guys to do like an assessment, you know, like just to see how you guys are working, because like I feel like something's telling me that you guys need help working together. And I was like, are you on it? You might, whatever. You guys don't want to believe us. It is what it is, because like I'm at that stage in my life where when it comes to faith, that I don't care if somebody believes me or not. I know what I felt, and I knew how real it was, and literally it was like that. And I was like, oh my God, like this is what we needed. So you can continue from there.
Okay. So yeah, we did that meeting. We meet with him for about an hour twice a month, so not too much. It was crazy that it literally was like 2 days after, so fresh in our mind. We're like, Andy, we legit were just talking about this, and we realized we do need help, and this is like the perfect moment. So he gave us an assignment. Our assignment was to do a spiritual test.
Yeah, it was like a spiritual assessment.
A spiritual assessment, and then a strength finder. I think it's literally called strength finder. So we did 2 different tests to kind of see where we're at and what our skills are, pretty much. And we did that, and we figured out from that, like literally what our skills, what we already knew deep down inside what we were good at. And not only that, like I guess what the biggest thing for that, I guess for me, I was like, I feel like I come off as bossy, and that's what I was telling him. Like, I know, like, my whole life that I've known him, I've always come off, at least that's how I feel, like, bossy, because I am a very, like, I make a list, and I'm like, I cross off my things, and if it doesn't go, I'm like, hey, what happened here? Hey, why isn't it in order, you know? I used to be very OCD, like, everything had to be in its place, and things of that sort. And pretty much he told me that comes down to like my childhood, probably from my parents not letting me do things or things of that sort. So he's like, that's a whole other root kind of issue. But it really opened up his eyes to be able to see like, okay, that's just her way of doing things. You know, like she doesn't mean, I don't mean bad, you know, I don't have bad intentions. It's just the way I do things. So I might do things a little different. However, I still will get the same result most of the time, you know? So I think with you, you've definitely laid back on telling me how to do certain things. Kind of like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. That's fine, you know? That's what you think.
For sure.
Or what do you want to add to that?
Yeah, so like what I want to add to that is just more on the test itself. Like I think what the test really helped us out with was just like being okay with who you are. Because I feel like so many times you try to paint this picture of somebody different that you are, and you kind of fight with those emotions or those feelings when you're working with somebody or you're doing something, because you're like, no, I'm not that person, or I don't want to be that way, or that's just too arrogant, or that's just too stubborn, or that's just not the right way to work, because you have a picture of somebody else doing it differently. And I always had that issue that I felt like I couldn't work, like I wanted to work my way, but I had to work towards everybody else because I was wrong, and I was always wrong. And it really opened up my eyes to thinking like, okay, well, that's just how I am and how I work. There's nothing wrong with how I do it. Obviously, I'm not saying that it's like I need to implement that on somebody else. It opened up my eyes knowing that like she has a way of doing things, and then I have to be able to trust her that she's going to be able to get the job done when her obligation is to get it done, in a sense. It's her job, and my job is to get something else done. And it really just like let me take off that pressure of like me having to force her or push her to do something that she wasn't comfortable with, to letting her just be like, okay, I know your obligations and your duties, and I know she's a really hard worker. So like it just let me just be like, okay, let me take off all this pressure that I have on me, just give it to God. And God, you're going to give her the assignment that she needs to do, and she's going to figure out how to do it. And it really just like over the last couple of weeks that we implemented this, like the whole dynamic changed. Like now it's like we're taking days separately working because we have kids, but like now she's like, okay, I'm gonna have all this and this ready for you tomorrow, instead of like, what did you do? It was more like, hey, I have this and this ready. I'm gonna have the list. This is what this color means. And I'm not taking it as bossy. I'm taking it as like, oh my gosh, thank you, because like that saves me the hassle of having to do the stuff that I don't like to do, because I'm total opposite. I don't like to do things like I want to be the one calling and making calls and talking to people. I don't want to be doing spreadsheets or like color coordinating like how she does. And it's beautiful. Like it makes my job a lot easier, because if it was just me, like I would be a mess. Like I'd be all over the place trying to figure out all those things. So she keeps everything organized. And then the best thing about it too is like she, even though like she doesn't make the calls, like when we go into door knocking, that's when I kind of like, oh my God, I take a step back, because I'm the opposite. I'm like, when I see somebody in front of me, I'm kind of like, oh, like, what do I say? Because it's like too, I don't know, it's too confrontational for me for some reason, or I don't know. But with her, she has like that warming approach when she comes to people, and people like to open up to her. And I come more of like, I feel like I come more off like a, how can I say, more intimidating, more aggressive. So we really balanced each other out. But the strengths finder just kind of opens your eyes to knowing like, hey, like my strengths, my weaknesses are my strengths. Like those things that like that I thought that were really bad at. Just use those as my strengths. Use those to work better. Use those to communicate better. Now that you know what you're good at, those weaknesses start becoming like something that you can help. So that's my take with.
That's good. I like that. You brought something up really good. Learning from one another, and then you said trusting in God. But one thing Andy mentioned was trusting in one another, but fully trusting, like 100%. Like I know 100% she has it covered. I know 100% he has it covered. He told me I'm trusting him. He told me he's gonna get it done. I know he's gonna get it done. And until you trust and really fully trust, you're not gonna be able to take your business to the next level.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the main thing he told us, and I truly, truly believe that. And I think just in anything, in just a regular relationship, in your regular marriage, I really think the trust is the most important thing, with communication along with that. You communicate all the time, all the things. And as hard as some talks are, like you don't want to do it, those are the ones that you really need to get done.
I think with communication comes trust. So like it's all comes together.
Yeah, I trust you. You're going to let me know when something's going on. I trust you that you're going to tell me when, you're feeling a certain way. So definitely. So that's the kind of the main thing that's happened recently with us. And I would say that's the best advice, is to really get to know the strengths of one another, especially when starting a business or just doing anything in general. Like really get to know like what's your role in that relationship and what's your role in the relationship. I know for us, we had to switch a lot of things around in the last few years. Like I know for me, something I told him in the last few years, I had a masculine trait. I grew up with like brothers and just daddy's girl, so I was very, I felt like I was very masculine, and I would like literally go up to people, like punch them. Wrestling is my favorite sport. Like I would toss my cousins, all over the place. I just felt very masculine, but I've always loved the feminine part of things. Like I love dressing feminine, and I just felt like I kind of went away from that. So even in a relationship, I felt like I would take the lead sometimes without really wanting to, but I felt like I had to sometimes. And I know, just communicating with him about it, he's really, really stepped up in so many ways that I cannot even imagine. Like I can't, it's crazy. He's leading like God made him to lead. And it's amazing to see how my son is like, following your footsteps now.
Yeah.
And the confidence is getting up there along with that. So
I
it's,
wish we had the results exactly, like, because it was um, kind of impressive, like how accurate they were to what we are doing now. You know what I mean?
oh,
Like
that's
it's
true.
like super accurate because like how it described my top five, I think it was. Like it really feels that way, you know? Like especially my top two, you know, and I was just kind of like, man, like I am that person, you know? Like it was almost like I knew I was, but at the same time it was almost like a um like just confirmation, like it's a stamp on like
Yeah.
this is who you are. So go, here you go, take it. You know what I mean? And also like I think one thing that like really stuck with me was um with our real estate. We have a every Wednesday we have like a group call, and it's with, they're called the Brennan brothers. If you guys haven't checked them out, they're just about all about faith and business and um, just
I think it's Benham.
Benham brothers,
Benham.
Benham.
I'm
Yeah,
saying something.
I don't know, the Benham brothers. Yeah,
Benham.
yeah.
Sorry.
But one thing that they said was like, whenever you guys get like a job, like something like for us, it's like real estate, and it's something that's just been so like impactful in our lives in every way possible. And even though like we're barely starting out and we haven't made any sales or, but like just I can see something big in this, you know, and I feel very like motivated and everything. But like how he said it, whenever you're feeling doubt and you're feeling like fear, especially like with couples and stuff, like you kind of see it as like God gave you this job. Now go treat it like he gave it to you. You remember? And I was like, and I would think about that, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
I think
like,
he said work like you're working for God or something like that.
yeah. Well, it was like
Something that's
work like if God gave you the job, right? So like
Okay,
if God said today your job is to go mow all these lawns, and God told you to do it, you're not just gonna sit back and be like, you know what, God, like I'm lazy today. You know what I mean? Like no, you're gonna get your butt up and start doing it. So like that's the way that I seen it. I was like, God put this in my heart, in our heart, and like he put all these amazing people around us, and he is blessing us with new opportunities every day, and something every day we learn something new. And it's like something big every day, you know. So it just feels so natural, and I'm like, God, you're giving me all this like opportunity, all this job, this career. Like how am I gonna just sit back and think like, oh, you know what, like he's giving it to me, but eventually he's just gonna like hand it over, you know? It's like no, put in that work together as a couple, like learn together, like don't see it as like a competition. I think that's a big thing. Like like sometimes you feel like you're working against the other person, like oh no, well I did this, well I did that. You guys are a team. You guys is, you know, you're getting to the top together.
You have the same goal.
Yeah, and your goal should be, you know, far beyond making money. It should be about conquering things together, leaving a legacy, and building something together for your family, for your kids, and being an example, you know, and helping others. You know, we're here to help, we're here to thrive together. And I think changing your mindset and then really getting rid of that, like that ego in a sense that like you're better than the other person, or they're, you know, if they do something successful, you're kind of like, whoa, you feel attacked, like oh she did that, how come I can't do it, you know. But those are all the little things that comes with like having a company together, is just like feeling like the other person's doing too much, the other person's not doing enough. It's like no, like you guys have standards. I trust what your standards are. I know what your standards. I live with you every single day, you know, so I know what your standards are. I know how hard you work, and I know how much you care for this company, you know. So I'm fully like committed to giving you like all the trust in the world to know that, hey, you're gonna get this done, and vice versa. You know, you expect the same out of me. So like tomorrow when it's my turn to take my time in the morning, like by the time that ends, like you know that I'm gonna have come back with some kind of answers. Like, hey, I got this, and this done, and then she's like, okay, cool, give it to me, and then she's gonna be able to handle whatever her task is for the next day, and just build upon that.
Oh, that's
But
really good. I honestly think that was couldn't have answered that a different way unless we carried on from the question. But that really is what has been happening recently, and in our relationship, in our marriage, and in our business. Just a little bit of cover. So if you have any questions about that, please let us know in the comments. If you want to see any kind of specific topic, let us know as well. We're gonna be just hopping on randomly whenever we can, at least once or twice a week. And let us know if you like these kind of videos or maybe lives. We could be doing lives. I was doing my cold plunge lives before, and so was he. We just kind of died out for a while.
yeah,
we just been so busy,
We had a lot.
and we just never made time for it. But now we're back. We're back, and we're excited because we have so much to share, so much wisdom that I've learned over these I really feel
I
much.
think this feels a lot more. Before it used to feel more like a drag. It was more of like, what am I gonna talk about? What do I need to do? It was too much planning that like it just kind of like was too much. Like especially like having to start a business together and then try to make an income, you know. And then she had work and all just a lot of little things, life. You know what I mean? And with that, YouTube kind of was just like it just became a little too stressful. And we're like, well, I want to talk about this, but I don't know about, you know. There's just like too much that we were dabbling with that we didn't know. But now, like, faith is like 100% like what we're committed to, and it feels so right that this just comes easy. Like I can sit here and talk for 3 hours about our life.
Yeah, let's just keep throwing us questions because it's so crazy. Before my videos were like new age videos. I only have a few up, but you can see very new age kind of stuff, and it was hard because I was like, I don't even know what to talk about, you know, from things I did, and I feel like it was for a reason. Because I wasn't supposed to put so much emphasis on that, you know, it wasn't so much. It's a journey part of my life. However, I'm a new phase in my life and I am loving it. And I have so much more to share now, how, you know, convert into Christianity. And it's been amazing. Like I said, the faith that we have is crazy and it's only growing stronger every day. But more than anything, we've learned so much in such a short period of time and just about life in general. All the pillars of the life, you know, like I feel like
we'll cover like
a lot of different things.
Yeah, and we'll end up covering like the last 2 or 3 years of our lives to now, because like it wasn't just like, oh, these last 3 months. It's been like, no, these last 3-4 years, like
that led us here.
Like it wasn't just like, oh, this just happened miraculously. Like no, like 3 or 4 years of like battling like random things that we were going through. Like, and the thing is, you guys might think it's crazy, but like we were on the same page every single time.
3 years.
The whole time, like it was always like after the first maybe like the first year that we started was kind of like rocky because like I was into something and you weren't, and then you were into something, and then all of a sudden we clicked. And then after that, like we were on the same page with everything. Like we both struggled really bad with certain emotions at a certain point, and then we both got up, and then we both came down.
Yeah.
And it's just like been a roller coaster, but we've been on this ride together, and we've always taken it for granted because like a lot of people are like, oh my God, you guys are so lucky that you guys have both are doing this, or that both of you guys are fully supportive, because like my spouse doesn't really support it, or he doesn't want to do anything with it, or she doesn't think it's okay, or she just rather not deal with it. And for us it was just always like, no, like we both need to get this done because it's for the best of us, it's for our family. And now we're on this journey, like it's nowhere near to where we want to be at all.
We have
like
so much work to do.
I think we're like barely
barely started a new chapter of our life.
Exactly.
So it's like chapter 1. Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's just a new phase in our life. We just started. This is the beginning of a new chapter in our life, which is amazing because it was like rocky before. Love every chapter, not gonna lie, because those, how they say, those struggles are really, you start appreciating like, man, I got through those tough times and I'm here now. You can be so happy and so peaceful, you know. But yeah, it's so true that we were together through everything. So it was really cool because I could understand what you were going through. Like I feel you, I understand you. So it was very I had that empathy, like, you know, take your time, whatever you need to do. And likewise, you would with me too. Like, hey, I got the kids. You go take some time to yourself. whatever you need to do and unwind, you know, which is so crazy.
Because it, like, you guys, I mean, if you guys are ever going through some certain emotions or any kind of feelings of like depression or anxiety or fear or just confusion with your life or don't know what you do, you know, the hardest thing is having a support system, having somebody there to constantly pick you up and give you that feeling of like comfort that you need in your life, you know. And I think that's like one important thing that like we always had together was like we always supported each other through the lowest of the lowest, you know. I can remember being at the lowest moment of my life where I went like a whole year with, I was like, my body was like, I had, my mind was outside my body, like I was just like there, not even there, like I was just like motionless, just couldn't do anything, you know. Like I was numb every day. I was numb, and then I was just like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this, but I'm gonna get through this. Like, and I would tell her, and she'd be like, "Well, we gotta keep trying something new, you know. You gotta keep trying something new, and we gotta go back to like the beginnings of the times, and like try this and try that." And we just pushed each other so hard through that. And then now, like when I notice and I go back and I seen some videos of me like back in the day, and I'm like 2 years ago, and I'm like, I can just visually remember those times, how much of a struggle it was. But just knowing that you have somebody there to support you all the time really changes how you can see life, you know. And now we're here, we're on this journey together, and I know it's this faith journey is, it's not easy, you know, because they do say like the path the devil gives you is, I mean, 10 times, if not 100 times wider than the one Jesus gives you, which is like a nice little narrow path that gets you there. But that little narrow path, I mean, it's been a blessing. Like everything that's happened, you pray and you see miracles happen, and then you start building some faith and you start building a relationship with God, and you start seeing these things happen for you. It becomes addicting, and I'll be addicted to God forever, and it's such a good feeling. So, but yeah, we're gonna love be doing talking about this kind of stuff, and then inspiring you guys. And if you guys have any questions, we're so happy to help. Like we want to just put the word out there and let people know that like we can help in any way possible. If you guys need somebody to talk to, anything, we're here. You know what I mean?
Been through it all. So
Yeah,
I'm
we've
sure.
been. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying we've been through the worst struggles in our like, but in our own lives,
Yeah,
we've
we've been through a lot.
struggled for ourselves. You know, I know some people out there have gone through some crazy trauma, and but at the end of the day, like, just know that God loves you, and that there's somebody always there for you. So, I don't know how often we're gonna be doing these. Hopefully once a week, but yeah, let us know how we did, and if you guys have any questions. I don't know if my wife wants to add something
That was
here.
it. I had wrapped it up already. We added another 10 minutes, but so oh my god, I'm congested. It's amazing.
She sounds a little nasally,
Sorry.
and we're gonna keep this in because this is gonna be a real 100%. So,
Oh my gosh, I need to blow my nose. I sound so nasally. I was literally about to eat some mocos or something.
yeah. But thank you so much. This will be popping up sometime this week too, or next week, the
Yeah,
week of
probably
June
this
10th.
week,
Yeah,
'cause it's raw and edited. Like.
raw and edited.
Just
So
put it in.
let us know, and you guys take care. God bless. See ya.
Bye. Have a